DC crime, not huge, no huge developments. The president talked about it up at Storm yesterday, and Democrats are still, a lot of Democrats are still furious about it. There's the guy who got arrested for throwing a Subway sandwich at the cops, and there were more arrests last night. But I don't know that there's anything we need to talk about on this today, unless either of you have anything you want to say about it.
The only thing I want to say is the Democratic Party is totally now not talking about crime. This is all about Trump. And that, I think, is a bad place for the party to be.
Yeah. My interview with Joe Scarborough on Next Up today will talk a lot about how Democrats are dealing with the DC thing. And Joe has a really interesting perspective on it, and that'll drop later today.
Well, there's a clip, by the way, which you don't see very often, of the White House putting out on their rapid response channel of the discussion, Scarborough quoting that Washington Post poll that Caroline mentioned in the briefing yesterday. And it's sort of like, if you've lost the Morning Joe crowd, you know you're in big trouble, right? If they're the ones saying, you got to be kidding me, like crime is a problem, and you got Elizabeth Boomiller and other people trying to make the case that, oh, no, it's not that bad. Again, I go back to this, like in any other situation, if the shoe was on the other foot, they talk about Republicans cooking the books. We have a DC police commander cooking the books about crime. We have a DC council that downplayed this. Democrats are literally walking into this trap, and it's kind of funny to just watch how pathetic it is.
You know, it should be all over the media. It's a little bit on Twitter, but it should be all over the media is TV journalists interviewing crime victims and people afraid of crime in DC and ask them how they feel about it. Like that,
they are. It's funny.
The journalists are.
It's just mostly you see more journalists on cable news saying how outraged they are. They should get out of the studio.
When they do show the DC residents, black, white, young, old, they're all saying we welcome it, right? I mean, that's
some of it, but look how much coverage the protests got of people protesting it. 20 people protest, and there's thousands of people in DC, tens of thousands, who are saying this.
One quick point on that, Mark. To your point about the protests, I was reading and watching some of the video last night. If you don't like Donald Trump or his policies, God, I mean, you have a First Amendment right, whatever. But to yell profanities and undignified comments at law enforcement individuals and members of the National Guard who are doing what they're told, it is a chain of command world. And I know that the DC chief doesn't understand that. But the bottom line is to go up to a federal officer or a National Guardsman and call them a fascist or an a-hole for doing their job, for signing up to protect America. Do you really, I don't think people fully appreciate these guys in the National Guard, especially who have full-time jobs, are getting yanked out to do this away from their family, away from their jobs, and to have people walk up and tell them that they're fascists and jerks. I think that the real jerk is anyone who wants to do that and throw a Subway sandwich at someone.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a clip. And you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.